Hi, David here from Radio Control Shop Ireland. Thank you for tuning in. What we're going to talk about now is nitro powered RC cars. We're going to do a few videos. The first video is going to be what to look for and to get the correct setup out of the box. Okay. After that we're going to talk about the break-in, tuning of the engine, and then maintenance of the car. So let's get cracking. So when your car comes out of the box, obviously you have to put in your AA's into your transmitter, and you need to put in your AA's into your receiver. Some cars obviously are treble A's, but AA's in this case here. This is an old school car, so it's not it's on megahertz instead of 2.4 gigahertz. So most radios would now have a little rubber antenna. It'll be 2.4. So now our car is on, our radio is on. Okay, so the first thing, very basically, we have to check is right is right and left is left on the car. Okay, and you want to also then double check your throttle. So when you hit the throttle, it opens the throttle, and you can see that by the carburetor barrel opening and closing. Another thing in there you need to watch for is the car, when let off on the throttle, needs a 1mm gap there. That's enough to get the car started. Lets enough air in to mix with the fuel to have a nice tick over. Okay, so check for that. Then what you need to do is just check for your brakes. So your accelerator obviously is this way. That's opening the throttle carburetor barrel to full. You can check that. And letting off is 1mm gap. So what you do is then to engage the brakes, push this lever forward and push the car, and the brakes are engaging. So your basic setup is correct before you drive. So right is right, left is left, brake is brake, and accelerator is accelerator. That's just some basic stuff to check before you actually get driving. These switches on the transmitter are for reversing the throttle. In this case you don't need to, and reversing the steering. So if the car came out of the box and instead of going right when you turn the wheel right, what we'll do is reverse that. If I turn it right, it's going left. Okay, so that is important to make sure that those switches are the correct way. Again, cars purchased from new shall be and will be correct, but it's good just to check to be safe. It can save an accident. Now on this particular transmitter here you have the throttle trim. Okay, so if you haven't got your 1mm gap on your carburetor, what you do is you can increase or decrease this to get the 1mm gap. What that will do is it will open up the carburetor or close it by increasing and decreasing on this knob. Okay, here you have your steering trim. Okay, so if the car is driving and is pulling a little bit to the right, you need to take the trim and move a little to the left. Okay, and vice versa. So if you watch, if I move this a lot, okay, you can see the wheels move. So when you're driving, that's the time to tune in your steering trim to make sure the car tracks correctly. Okay. So a few more things you just want to check prior to driving the car for the first time would be the stock settings of the tuning needles. So that's your high-speed needle, which is the one that's connected to your fuel tank. It runs all the way up to the fuel tank. Okay, so if you want to check the stock setting, it should be set when the car is new, but if you want, you'll have to turn it clockwise all the way down and count the amount of turns to bring it back out to stock setting. A lot of cars will be anywhere between 2 and 3. So you'll have to check on your manual for your particular car to see what your stock setting is in your high-speed needle. On the far side of the car here, you've got your low-speed needle. Okay, so you can check your stock settings the same way. Turn it all the way in clockwise and then count the amount of turns anti-clockwise. There is one more screw here, which is your idle stop screw. Okay, so what that does is it stops the carburetor barrel from closing off completely. So when you're driving the car and you hit on the brakes, what it does is stops the barrel from closing over, to stop the air from coming in and stopping the engine from cutting out. So again, that's you can govern your 1mm gap with that particular screw there. Now another thing you could check if you want, it would also be a reason why a car doesn't start, but you can if you want to check. Again, on a new car, shouldn't be any need, is to check your glow plug. So if you take your glow plug out from the top of the engine and you put on your glow igniter, you get a nice strong glow from that. Okay, so if a car doesn't start, that's another thing that needs to be checked. A, the glow plug, or B, the charge inside your glow igniter. Be careful when you're putting this back in. I've seen a lot of these going in not straight, crooked, let's say. So very gently with 2 fingers, turn it until it gets the thread grabs, and then lock it in position, but not too hard. 2 fingers, push, and that's it. So our next video is going to be more about the engine, about starting the engine, okay, and about tuning the engine. Thanks for tuning in.